Hi everybody, I'm Brittany Miller, and before we start this video, I want to apologize for you guys for my voice. I've been really sick this past week. I've had strep throat and bronchitis, and so I might sound a little funny, so I'm sorry. And that's also why I'm doing this video in my house, is in hopes of not getting anybody else sick. So just sorry about that, and bear with me, okay? So I want you guys to take a second and think of all of the leaders that you've learned about in science. Leaders from the past and leaders from the present. Just people who've made a difference in science. And I want you to think about that for a minute and think about what they look like. Who are they? My guess is that they probably look like this. So most people that I ask this question to will admit that they thought of a middle-aged white male. Um, and some of you are probably wondering where I'm going with this, but my point is simple. Most people think of the leaders of science as only being men. Because of this, the women of science are often forgotten and their contributions often overlooked. But today I'm going to share a story of one incredible woman in science. She was born the daughter of a carpenter in a little seaside town in southern England on May 21st, 1799. She grew up poor, and so she didn't have a formal education, but she learned how to read and write from her mother and the ladies at Sunday school. From her father, however, she learned something that would forever change the world of science: fossil hunting. Her name was Mary Anning, and she was considered the greatest fossilist the world has ever known. Lyme Regis, the town where Mary was born, was rich in fossils from many sea creatures from the Jurassic era. Her father often used this to his advantage and would supplement his income by selling fossils to tourists on the beach. When he died in 1810, leaving the family destitute, Mary continued to comb the beaches, searching for fossils to sell. Through her love for collecting fossils, Mary would forever change the world of science, especially to the newly established fields of paleontology and geology. At the age of 12, Mary uncovered this fossil. Originally thought to be a crocodile, it turned out, however, to be the first complete fossil ever discovered of an ichthyosaur. Over the years, Mary would find many more of these, along with hundreds of other fossils. Most notably of these were the complete skeleton of a plesiosaur. Commonly known as a long-necked sea dragon, Mary discovered this fossil in 1823. And in 1828, she discovered what is commonly known as the flying dragon, or a pterodactyl. With these discoveries, Mary became a respected fossilist in the scientific world. During her life, Mary was often seen as a woman who hungered for more knowledge. And because of this, she actually pushed herself and educated herself, and in the end became an expert in the fields of anatomy, geology, and paleontology. However, even with her extraordinary skills and knowledge base, many people in the science communities were skeptical. Often her contributions to the fields were overlooked because of her gender and lack of social status. Science at the time was a field that was dominated by men, most of whom believed that a young woman of such low means could not possibly have the knowledge and skill set needed to be a true scientist. However, there were some that were not threatened by a young woman who was so intelligent. When word of Mary's skills became more of common knowledge, many people would travel to her town to learn from her. And if they weren't going to gain from her knowledge, they would go to hunt fossils alongside Mary on the beaches. In 1824, one of the people who traveled to Lyme Regis was a lady by the name of Harriet Sylvester. And she actually wrote about Mary in her diary, and this is what she had to say. It is certainly a wonderful instance of divine favor that this poor, ignorant girl could be so blessed, for by reading and application she has arrived to that degree of knowledge as to be in the habit of writing and talking with professors and other clever men on the subject, and they all acknowledge that she understands more of the science than anyone else in the kingdom. If I think about it, I don't think that Mary thought of herself as anything other than just a woman trying to support her family and help out. But when you sit and reflect on everything that she did, you start to come up with the idea that she was the mother of modern day paleontology and geology. Her findings provided the evidence that was at the center of new ideas about Earth's creation. At the time, there was little evidence to challenge the biblical story of Earth's creation, but Mary's findings were enough to push the science community into looking for different explanations about natural world changes. She was a woman far beyond her time and a great leader to all women in science. Like I said before, I don't think that Mary saw herself as a scientist or even a leader. She hunted fossils to provide for her family. She studied and gained her immense knowledge out of a passion for what she did. However, she didn't let the standards of the time hold her back. She never married. Instead, she preferred to follow her passion and dedicate her life to science. She didn't give up when people doubted her ability or refused to recognize the work that she had done or the accomplishments that she had. Instead, she continued to move on and prove that women can change the course of science and the course of history just as easily as any man.